What is neoliberalism? It's an ideology whose central belief is that competition is the defining feature of humankind. It tells us we are greedy and selfish, but that greed and selfishness light the path to social improvement, generating the wealth that will eventually enrich us all. It casts us as consumers rather than citizens. It seeks to persuade us that our well-being is best realized not through political choice, but through economic choice, specifically buying and selling. It promises us that by buying and selling, we can discover a natural meritocratic hierarchy of winners and losers. The market, it contends, will, if left to its own devices, determine who deserves to succeed and who does not. The talented and hard-working will prevail, whereas the feckless, weak and incompetent will fail. The wealth the winners generate will trickle down to enrich the rest. By contrast, neoliberals argue that an active state seeking to change social outcomes through public spending and social programs rewards failure, fuels dependency, and subsidizes the losers. It creates an unenterprising society run by bureaucrats who stifle innovation and discourage risk-taking, to the impoverishment of us all. Any attempt to interfere with the market's allocation of rewards, to redistribute wealth and improve the condition of the poor through political action, impedes the emergence of the natural order, in which enterprise and creativity are rightly rewarded. At the same time, neoliberals contend that government intervention and bureaucratic control will inevitably lead to tyranny, as the state gains ever more power to decide how we should live. The role of governments, neoliberals claim, should be to eliminate the obstacles that prevent the discovery of the natural hierarchy. They must cut taxes, shed regulation, privatize public services, curtail protest, diminish the power of trade unions, and eradicate collective bargaining. They must shrink the state and blunt political action. In doing so, they will liberate the market, freeing entrepreneurs to generate the wealth that will enhance the lives of all. Once the market has been released from political restraints, its benefits will be distributed to everyone by means of what the philosopher Adam Smith called the invisible hand. The rich, he claimed, are led by an invisible hand to make nearly the same distribution of the necessaries of life which would have been made had the earth been divided into equal portions among all its inhabitants, and thus, without intending it, without knowing it, advance the interest of the society. It is fair to say that it hasn't quite worked out like this. Over the past 40 years, during which neoliberalism has prevailed both ideologically and politically, wealth, far from trickling down, has increasingly become concentrated in the hands of those who already possess it. As the rich have grown richer, the poor have grown poorer, and extreme poverty and destitution now blight even the richest nations. And while the state might have deregulated finance and other commercial sectors, leaving their bosses freer to behave as they wish, it has reasserted control over other citizens, intruding ever further into our lives as it stifles protest and restricts the scope of democracy. Even on its own terms, as this book will show, neoliberalism has failed, and failed spectacularly. It has also inflicted devastating harms on both human society and the living planet, harms from which we're at risk of never recovering. In terms of the spread and reproduction of its worldview, however, it has been astonishingly successful.